Hey, everybody. Welcome into the back room. I'm Andy Ostroy. We have former MAGA Granny Pam Hemphill back with us. We'll chat with her in just a second. But first, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you listening, and we'd love to hear your comments. So email us at backroomandy@gmail.com and or post on our social media, and we'll read some feedback next time. And if you like the podcast, please rate and review and follow or subscribe, and you'll be notified every time we post a new episode. So Pam Hemphill's a 72-year-old former Trump supporter known as the MAGA Granny. She was imprisoned over her role on January 6th and has spent the last several years debunking the stolen 2020 election and the J6 lies. She's a cancer survivor, a retired substance abuse counselor, and a recovering alcoholic, 46 years sober. Pam, welcome back into the back room.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
So just as a reminder for our listeners, you were formerly known as the MAGA Granny. You were someone who was so entrenched in the MAGA movement. And I'm curious, because there's so much going on these days with MAGA and Trump, in particular, this Epstein scandal. Can you help us understand, why is this scandal so important to Donald Trump's most loyal supporters?
You mean get evidence that he's not guilty?
Yeah, well,
or that is guilty.
You're getting ahead of me, but yeah, it's something that, he promised for years, and then also on the campaign trail that he was going to go after this deep state cabal of rich, powerful Democrat pedophiles. And he's been in office now for 9 months, and he seems to be doing everything humanly possible to avoid accountability for whatever role he had in that and avoiding making these files public. But I really want to understand from your perspective as someone who was there, why is this the thing that gets MAGA so upset?
Well, as Shakespeare said, I think I detest too much. I think because statistically, if you do some research, there's many, many people on the right that have been arrested for sexual abuse. But they're in such denial. I don't know. Maybe it's a part of them that want to just put it behind them and prove us wrong. I can't get in the heads of other people, but it's a typical cult mentality. And Trump, is an actor. He should have stayed an actor. That's the way he does it. To cover up. He has put it out there. Oh, this is horrible, and we got to get these files out. And that would be the first thing you and I would do if we're innocent. I mean, we would have got on that a long time ago and stopped that.
Right. You would think.
Yeah. And if to me, would you find out that my best friend is Epstein and you know what he's doing? Why would you continue to hang out with a person like that? My friends that are hanging out with that type of people, I wouldn't want them as my friends. So again, it's just part of their cult thinking. They're so brainwashed by Trump. I mean, they're coming after me, but they're really coming after you.
Right. But again, he has done and said so many awful things over the last 10 years. He has lied. He has broken campaign promises, his criminality, but yet it is the Epstein conspiracy, the thing that threatens to tear MAGA apart. It is the thing that those in the MAGA movement seem to really care about. I had Rich Logis on here a little while ago from Leaving MAGA, and he was saying that when it comes to abusing children, somehow that is breaking through to his base in a way that nothing else has. Do you see it that way?
Not really. I think studying some Inside the Criminal Mind is the name of the book by Hammoud. They always put out things that to make you believe they're good people. Mm-hmm. Like they use God a lot. See, I'm really a good person. I really care about these children that are being abused. It's kind of a front. It's a cover to make you believe that they are good people. And a lot of them are. But again, I think it's just a distraction. to not look at the things that they're doing, and they're just, again, trying to appear as if they're really good people. And we do not want a president that's been sexually abusing children, but at the same time, they don't do enough to make sure it's going to happen. As
Yeah.
far as the Congress, the Republican.
Do you think there's a disconnect between wanting to, quote unquote, protect children and bring down this deep state and not having any connection to it of Trump? So in other words, the reason MAGA is so upset is because, yeah, maybe they are really caring about protecting children, but they can't seem to grasp that somehow Trump may have been involved in that. So they don't hold him accountable. They want him to hold everyone else accountable. It's just an interesting thing to follow the trajectory of this conspiracy and scandal, because it is the one thing that has broken through the MAGA. But do they not connect Trump to it at all?
No, I don't think they do. I think they wanted out mainly to show that Trump wasn't involved.
Right.
In fact, just talking to him in Portland, no, Trump's not. He was helping the FBI get information for Epstein.
Right. So right. That whole FBI informant thing, that's so crazy.
Maybe he knew about it, but he didn't like it. They come up with all these excuses. So, yeah, they go back and forth so much.
Yeah.
See, first, they say that I never was MAGA, and I probably wasn't. I didn't have a lot of the thinking that they had. But yeah, they're desperate to keep Trump as this image that he's given them and not be wrong about him at all. So I understand trying to cover for somebody. And the deep state, we know the deep state is Project 2025. There's no deep state.
Yeah, well, that became abundantly clear for those who didn't see it during the campaign.
Yeah.
What do you think Trump's personal involvement was in this whole Epstein situation?
Well, everything that I've read and documentaries, and totally guilty. Absolutely. Yeah, he was totally involved.
Because there's some people who think that he may not have been involved in the actual sex trafficking or participating in sexual activity, but is protecting a lot of his cronies who were.
Who was that said, "Oh, I smoked some pot, but I didn't inhale it"?
Yeah.
This is Trump right now. Give me a break. You're hanging out with a guy like that. We already know he has sexual problems. I think in college he got in trouble. They found some Playboy books. It goes way back for him.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, we're not talking about somebody who has a clean record. We're hypothesizing about someone who is an adjudicated sexual abuser in a court of law, someone who has over 20 allegations against him of sexual abuse. He has in the past been accused of rape by his own first wife. She retracted it later in a legal document. There was that case of a 13-year-old girl who accused him of rape. And again, he could be innocent of all this stuff. A lot of people get accused of a lot of things. But, there's that old expression, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Yeah. And it just seems like, given his unwillingness to put out these files in full, that the house is on fire. What is he hiding? Especially after promising it for so many years. Why wouldn't he put it out and make MAGA happy? That's what I keep asking that over and over again. Why won't he do it if he's innocent?
Didn't he say he could shoot people in New York or something, and they would still support me? I mean,
well, that's right.
They're stupid.
Do you see people leaving MAGA?
No. I've tried because of who I am. Though it's more difficult to have an adult conversation with anybody. No, it's really bad for me as far as they don't want anything to do with me. They try to talk to me. They try to love bomb me and say, "Oh, Pam," and ask me a few questions. Then they snap and they throw some smear at me that they've heard, and get off the subject. But I can't talk with MAGA. To me, they're too far gone. It's just like an alcoholic in denial when they're not ready to listen to you, even with facts put in front of them. They deny it. And so mentally, to me, they've lost their critical thinking. And they just they're just like the criminal mind, where I wouldn't have stole the car, but they left the keys in there. I mean, their thinking is,
Yeah. Well, a big part of it is, I guess, because he tells them the car really belongs to you, and it's
yeah,
within your right to take the car. Like
yeah,
it is so convoluted. So your feeling is that he still has the same kind of grip on these
yeah,
people.
yes, he does.
Mm.
They may, they always come back around. I heard one say, you know, I know it's going to get really, really bad. It's going to get really bad, but just hold on because Trump knows what he's doing. You know, it's like, okay, he does. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting that you said that, because there's a lot of people who believe that in the last month or two, he doesn't, for a guy who used to really portray himself, and history has shown that he was right, that he had great political instincts. As crazy and dangerous and criminal they may be, he understood his base. But in the last month or two, he doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He's making all the wrong moves. He doesn't get out in public anymore. He's not mixing it up on the road. He doesn't do rallies. He's not doing the same things he used to do. And instead, he's holed up either in the White House or at Mar-a-Lago, and he's spending most of his time on overseas bullshit, trying to get us into wars in Venezuela and elsewhere. And he does seem like he doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
One doesn't care.
Or doesn't care. I mean, I heard something earlier today on CNN, or somebody said that right before the election, like in the last weeks, last year, he told his people on his staff, like, I'm done. I can't do any more. I'm not going out anymore. I'm not campaigning anymore. I've had it. It seems like he's had it for a very long time. The one thing he's not over is the grifting. Like this presidency and the first one have been very good to him financially. And that seems to be where he spends a good chunk of his time and enriching himself, whether it's here with crypto deals or overseas with Saudi Arabia and the prince and others, Qatar, who can give him a big plan. Like, he's making a shitload of money, but I get a sense that his base isn't as happy with him as they used to be. And we're seeing that in the election that just passed. He's lost the independence. So I don't know. I mean, it's just still fascinating to me that with everything he's done, everything he has said, all the lies to MAGA, all the broken promises, you're saying that he still has that grip.
Yeah, but he can blame it on the Democrats continuously why he's not being successful. You know, he's remember, he's a dangerous narcissist.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can't trust him. He'll be one way for a while and then switch back on you. And money is his drug, but it's the means for the power. It's more the power that he's addicted to than the money, but he needs the money to have the power. So that makes sense why he's trying to get more and more, because the more money, the more power.
Do you think that he would ever pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Do you think that is something that would perhaps ultimately piss off MAGA and turn some of his supporters against him if he were to do that?
No, because they lied about everything, right? The deep state is after everyone. No, he would pardon her in a second, but I wouldn't believe anything he says, though, because
Yeah.
it's not real. He just
No,
put
it's
that out there for media,
yeah. Well, he has no strategy. So whatever, it's just whatever's 5 seconds in front of him is what he responds to. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, this was shocking to me. Like, if you told me 4 months ago that Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene would be calling each other traitors at the same time Trump is pretty much making out with Zoran Mamdani in the Oval Office, like, I would have said, Pam, you're crazy. But yet here we are. He's cozying up to a Democrat socialist Muslim, which I can't believe MAGA would be happy about. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has abandoned him. What do you make of that?
Big mistake. I wish he hadn't done it. It's just another win for Trump, isn't it? Just, Trump could show what he could do and get you to either quit or he'll get rid of you some way. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
done. I would have
Well, that
continued.
that was surprising to see her resign, but she's a calculating politician with good political instincts, and there's got to be some other motivation there. Either she's running for higher office or there's something. I don't see her just walking away because she's afraid of Trump. It took a lot of guts for her to do what she did in going against him on several of his policies. So it's hard to imagine it like she would just throw in the towel after a week, you know?
It gets hard with smear campaigns and death threats. Because I go through it all the time. It
Yeah.
gets very difficult, and you want to quit. You really do. You want out of this. It's like, it was what I'm saying and doing even helping anybody? But yeah, we can't go into the mind of Marjorie right now. Or no, I wish you'd let us know what she's planning.
Well, with all her political capital, I can't see her just packing in the entire political game. Something's got to be up.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. You said you've been spending a lot of time at the Portland ICE facility. This is a huge issue right now for Trump. What are you seeing at this facility? What are you sensing from what you see on the ground as you're protesting?
Well, this is actually Project 2025 in play right now. And it talks about how the protests will be interrupted or stopped if you're going up against Trump. And sure enough, that's what we're seeing. And the reason I went to Portland, because of what Trump said, he called it Antifa terrorist. And I thought, I'm Antifa. You know, MAGA gave me the name MAGA Granny, and they gave me the name Pam Tifa. So I go by Pam Tifa in Oregon. But I thought if there's any type of violence or anything crazy going on down there, I'm not going to be a part of it. I couldn't leave. I stayed for 5 days, came back 5 times, and got to know the people and watch. Now, there's some people that act up and do civil disobedience. There's a blue line, and they might go over it. Well, John Lewis had to go into a cafe. It's just called civil disobedience, but they're not violent.
Right.
And all the people I've talked to, I mean, they just talk about peace and love. And, they kick you out if you are doing things they're not approving. Like if you go up and hit somebody and knock out their phone, they don't want you doing those kind of things. But see, Trump, this is his baby. And I look at it as, if we lose the Portland protests, forget it. They were throwing pictures for 2020, right? He doesn't even know what's going on down there. But see what he did when the the governor were fighting against the National Guard coming there, and they won, and they won't allow them there. That really upset him. So he sent out Nick Sorrell, I don't say his last name too well, and Katie Davis, and then just a few weeks ago, Tariel from the Proud Boys, to come there and then disrupt the protests. And they circle the people, they yell at them, they scream at them, and
trying to incite
violence. So they can go back and see Trump. It really is violent. Let's have the Insurrection Act. Let's get these people out of here. They are now down there after Tario left. I think what he did was come there to encourage people to stay there, continue trying to get rid of the protesters. And they brought the flag. I was there for every incident that happened. They went there and lied about every one of them. And I'm thinking, I'm right there. I know what happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, we have television, we have the internet, we have video clips. We've been seeing the images that we've all been watching, the aggressive tactics of ICE that they've been using. We see it all, and it is horrific. When you think about how these days our elections are won and lost on the margins, if you're against Trump, if you're against his policies, if you're against the tactics of ICE, if you're against all of it, we don't need all of MAGA to say, I'm done with Trump. If 5% of them, plus independent voters, said, I'm done, that's huge. You win elections that way. And so I'm hopeful that at least some of the folks out there who are part of this movement have just been witnessing things that even they can't stomach anymore.
I hope. Not down there in Portland. They're out there saying we love ICE. And those people that Trump had in his meeting were all on top of the ICE building. They're working right with ICE. Because see, what they're trying to do there is make sure that we look like we're violent. And they come there and say things, to get you to hit them back and look like you're violent. But
And then you look at what happened with this National Guard member in D.C., which was horrifying. But it's like he was warned that if you're going to send the military into U.S. cities on American streets, there's a potential for that inflaming the tensions, for that to incite violence, and that citizens and military personnel may get hurt or killed. And here we are. And so it's this vicious cycle. But you mentioned before, the courts have put this stuff down. They have ruled against him on these deployments. And so we'll see where that goes. But I think the people like you who were out there protesting at these facilities, I've seen what happens to a lot of you guys. I've seen how ICE treats you. I've seen the violence and the breaking of laws, literally. And so there's a lot of bravery that's going on.
The Portland police were not arresting any of the protesters. The protesters started getting arrested when MAGA came out and started irritating them and pushing them to the brink of, getting angry and they get in a fight. But ICE, one story after another, my God, said to them many times, if it was legal, I would shoot you. I mean, they say it when they get up front to them and pepper spray them. They're doing nothing. I was so frightened. I wasn't really protesting. I'm supporting because I was too afraid watching what they're doing. If you just standing even way back, they come after you. They hit a lady in her head. She was 84 years old. I saw the wound. They don't care.
Yeah, it's insane. Pam, there's a lot of people out there who appreciate what you and others are trying to do. I have a lot of love for people who have gotten out of MAGA and are now fighting on the right side of history. So we appreciate you. Keep up what you're doing and do come back and talk with us again.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. Take care. This episode was produced and edited by me, Andy Ostroy. It was co-produced by Matty Rosenberg and Jen Hammoud for Radio Free Rhiniecliff, with additional editing by Matty Rosenberg, music by Andrew Hollander, and graphic design by Cricket Lengyel. And with a special thanks to our sponsor, The Epicurean. Again, thanks for listening. Please rate and review wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to the Back Room with Andy Ostroy YouTube channel, where you can watch full videos of our interviews. See you next time.